All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little preview of preseason week in the NFL number one, including the Niners and Raiders in Las Vegas. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Check them out. They've got two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. in both spots or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's talk a little bit about preseason week number one and what we're expecting to see. And we'll start with the Niners and the Raiders. I don't think you're going to see Brock Purdy. It's unlikely he's going to play. So that opens the door for Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen to show what they got. And all these guys are trying to win that QB2 job. And we're going to find out what they got. You know, can Sam Darnold take care of the football? Can Trey Lance hit the layups? Can Brandon Allen operate the offense and move the ball down the field and show that he's got enough arm to be an NFL starting quarterback? I think that's what I'm looking for in this game more than anything. I'll also be looking to see what kind of pressure the backup 49er defensive line can put on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's a real question for the 49ers. As far as the Raiders, Josh Jacobs is still holding out, so Zamir White, their fourth-round pick from last year, the running back, is going to be featured quite a bit, and I would imagine, we're going to see if the Raiders can run the ball on this 49er defense, starring Zamir White instead of Josh Jacobs. I'm really eager to see what Jimmy Garoppolo looks like if he plays in this game. I'm not sure if he's going to, but I'm eager to see it if he is. As far as the other games around the NFL this weekend, all these games have a couple things that I'm interested in seeing, and let's just go right down the list. Texans, Patriots. I think the Texans are going to be one of the most improved teams in the NFL. I think Bobby Slowick is going to help their offense. I think D'Amico is going to help their defense. Will Anderson is now on their defense up front. They've got a phenomenal secondary now with Derek Stingley Jr., and they've got some really good young DBs on the back end. So Texans play the Patriots at Gillette Stadium, and they're in Foxborough. And I'm eager to see C.J. Stroud. According to reports, C.J. Stroud has looked really, really good. On the other side of the ball, the Patriots, I don't know if we're going to see Mac Jones in this game, but the Patriots have a young receiver that I loved in the draft, Demario Douglas. And Douglas is a smallish receiver, but he's got great ball skills, great stop and start ability. I'm eager to see if he can continue his outstanding camp. According to the reports out of New England, Demario Douglas has been fantastic. Vikings will take on the Seahawks in Seattle. Minnesota's got a brand new defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, and we're going to see if he can turn the Vikings defense into something. I mean, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, they've got some nice offensive weapons, but their defense is a joke. And can Brian Flores, help turn that thing around? As far as Seattle goes, they've had a lot of running back issues. Kenneth Walker III's dinged up. Zach Charbonnet, the UCLA rookie, is also hurt. So we're going to see a lot of DJ Dallas. And I expect to see a lot of DJ Dallas. And to me, the big question was Seattle, can they run the ball? Can they stop the run? Last year, they could run the ball, but could they stop the run? Not so much. They were 26th. I want to see how well they stop the run this preseason. Giants take on the Lions in Detroit. The talk of Giants camp has been the West Virginia wide receiver, Bryce Ford Wheaton, who at 6'3", 220 pounds, runs in the 4.3s. The Giants have a evolving, evolving situation at wide receiver. They're leaning on some guys that don't have huge pedigree. But what a shot in the arm it will be for Daniel Jones if Bryce Ford Wheaton becomes a star. And then for the Lions, the Lions had a really good draft again, and they drafted Sam Laporta, who may be the best tight end in this last draft. They also drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back from Georgia, or from Alabama, I should say. And Gibbs is a star, I think. I think that was a great pick. I'm eager to see both Laporta and Gibbs. If both those guys are as good as some people think they are, Detroit might be that third best team in the NFC. I'm looking for that. Steelers take on the Bucs in Tampa. The big talk in Steeler camp has been about the tight end, Darnell Washington, the gigantic 6'8" tight end from Georgia. He supposedly stood out in practices. How could he not at 6'7", 6'8", in that wingspan? But I'm eager to see what Darnell Washington looks like. And then the Buccaneers. There's a lot of talk that the Buccaneers may try to trade for Trey Lance. And right now it's Baker Mayfield competing against the young Kyle Trask for that starting quarterback job, and I'm eager to see how they do. Mayfield, according to reports, has turned it over an awful lot in camp, and Trask, some people don't even think Trask is an NFL starting caliber quarterback. So those two guys battling it out, and they'll probably see some action in that game. Packers-Bengals in Cincinnati. You know, the Green Bay is a really good drafting team, and they took Jaden Reed, the wide receiver out of Michigan State, and Luke Musgrave, the tight end from Oregon State, who's got great athleticism. I think this is Bill Musgrave's kid. And they already have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. So now I want to see, is Jaden Reed going to be that slot receiver to complement those two big outside receivers? And is Musgrave going to be as good a tight end as a lot of people are saying? He's 6'6", he can run well. If those guys come of age, Jordan Reed might have a better first year as the full-time starter than most of us think. So I think that's interesting. The other one in that game, Cincinnati's defensive end, Joseph Asai. You know, Joseph Asai had that hit late in the year against Mahomes in the playoffs, out of bounds. It was a highly publicized hit, and he took a lot of criticism. And, you know, guys either when they're in the spotlight like that, they either go south or they come back with a vengeance. And it sounds like Asai is doing the latter. He's having a huge camp in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's already got some really good edge rushers, but the kid from Texas, Joseph Asai, is one to watch in this game against Green Bay, because Asai, according to almost everybody who's been in Bengals camp, has just been flat out dominant. Falcons and Dolphins play in Miami. This will be the Atlanta debut for the rookie running back Bijan Robinson. The former Texas Longhorn running back is supposed to be a major, major key for the Falcons this year. They got a run-heavy scheme with Desmond Ridder. Is Bijan Robinson going to be a star right away? We're going to find out. And then Miami's having offensive line issues. They don't know. They got a competition at left guard. They got a competition at right tackle with Austin Jackson. And there's some debate how good Miami's offensive line is going to be. So that's an interesting game to watch. Commanders at Browns. There's a couple things to watch here. You know, for Washington, they got a new offensive coordinator. It's Eric Bieniemy. Sam Howell is battling it out with Jacoby Brissett for the number one quarterback job, and their offense has just gotten beaten down by their defense in camp, if you believe the reports coming out of Washington. So does Washington need a quarterback? You know, are they going to try to trade for a Trey Lance or a Sam Darnold at the end of preseason? That's very, very possible, because Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett are hardly dominating. As far as Cleveland, they've got, you know, obviously Deshaun Watson and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, so they've got quarterbacks. The big question for them is their logjam at receiver. Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cedric Tillman, Marquise Goodwin, David Bell, Anthony Schwartz, the burner, Jakeem Grant, the return man, Jalen Darden's got some skills. They got 8 receivers there. And they're probably only going to go with 5 or 6, so a couple of these guys are going to have to get cut. I think that's the competition to watch anytime you're tuning in for Cleveland here in the preseason. Broncos play the Arizona Cardinals at State Farm Stadium there in the desert. It's Sean Payton's debut as the Broncos head coach. I think a lot of people are expecting Denver to turn it around under Payton. For Arizona, the guy you got to watch here is the 5th-round pick Clayton Tune, and whether or not he can take the quarterback job away from Colt McCoy, David Blau, and Jeff Driscoll. Tune was a really good player at Houston. I really liked him in the draft. He's a 3-time team captain. He started 44 games, threw for over 12,000 yards. He's a really good athlete, and he can scramble. And I think, you know, for the Cardinals, who, you know, start the year with Kyler on the PUP list, you know, I think Clayton Tune is definitely the guy to watch. You know, is he going to be the starter until Kyler comes back? I really think he will be. Titans Bears go at Soldier Field. Mike Vrabel's doing something really cool here. He named the D-line coach, assistant head coach, Terrell Williams, the acting head coach for this game. And it's a good gesture. Williams is an under the radar assistant. He spent 13, 14 years coaching at 6 colleges before he got his NFL call up in 2012. And Vrabel is just trying to, give him a higher profile and let more people know about him. And I think that's very cool. That to me is how you do it. So I thought that was kind of neat. Will Levis will also make his debut for the Titans in this game. A lot of people like Chicago as a bounce back team this year, or as a team to surprise. They've got a receiver / running back, Velus Jones Jr., that either could get cut on August 29th, or he could wind up emerging as a star in Chicago. So he's a guy to watch for sure this preseason. As far as the next game, Colts Bills, this one's in Buffalo. Anthony Richardson's Indy debut. In fact, the Colts announced today that Richardson is going to be the starter in the preseason over Gardner Minshew. He's had some big time moments in camp. So a lot of people are really eager to see what Anthony Richardson looks like right out of the chute. And for Buffalo, they're trying to figure out their secondary. Who's going to start opposite Tre'Davious White in the secondary? Is it going to be Elam? Is it going to be Benford? There's a bunch of guys, Dane Jackson. So that's really, Buffalo's a pretty good football team, but to me, that game's worth watching just to see Anthony Richardson. Jets-Panthers, I think, is going to be an interesting game. This is Bryce Young, who will be making his debut, and the rookie quarterback has been tremendously accurate in camp, and he's not making a lot of mental mistakes. So I kind of think Bryce Young is going to have a good rookie year. I'm really eager to see him, and then there'll be no Aaron Rodgers in this game, but I am eager to see if Zach Wilson can keep the momentum going after he played well last week against Cleveland. Can he bounce back this week against Carolina and continue to play well? That's something to watch. Jags Cowboys in Texas. For Jacksonville, the story is Tank Bigsby, who is going to be fun to watch. 88th pick in the draft out of Auburn, kind of a bigger back. He's going to share time with the former Clemson back. And, a lot of people like Bigsby and think that Bigsby could have a huge year. So if you're a fantasy fan, look out for Tank Bigsby. As far as Dallas, Dallas has their number one back is Tony Pollard, but they didn't re-sign Zeke Elliott. He's still a free agent. And they're letting Rico Dowdell, Malik Davis, and Deuce Vaughn fight it out for that number 2 running back job. And Deuce Vaughn, whose dad also coaches for the Cowboys, is a tiny 5'7" back who played at K-State, but he's looked really good and shifty. He's got great heart, and a lot of people are rooting hard for Deuce Vaughn. He was a great college player. We'll see if he can do it in the NFL, but that's a guy to watch for in that game for sure. A couple other games, Eagles-Ravens. I think this is going to be interesting. The Eagles signed a couple linebackers, Zach Cunningham, Miles Jack. They're also expecting Jalen Carter to step in for Javon Hargrave. And according to reports, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith have been 2 of the stars of Eagles camp. Both those Georgia rookies have gotten first-team reps. So Eagles did lose Javon Hargrave to the Niners. They also lost Linval Joseph. They lost both their starting linebackers. They lost both their starting safeties. They lost both their coordinators. So I'm eager to see what Philly looks like. And then Baltimore took a flyer on one of my favorite guys in the draft, Keaton Mitchell, a super electrifying running back return man from East Carolina. And this will be our first look at Mitchell. I really think he's going to have a great preseason. Chargers-Rams play in L.A., the stadium that they share. The Chargers, the talk about Charger camp has been about the second-year safety, J.T. Woods. He's got 8 interceptions. He had 8 interceptions in his final 2 years at Baylor. And then the guy is a workout wonder. 4.36 40, 10.8 broad jump, 39.5-inch vertical. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He only played 31 defensive snaps last year as a rookie. He was inactive for their playoff game, but he has stood out in camp and is vying for a starting safety job, which they're saying could free up Derwin James to be played more of that joker kind of combo DB linebacker role. So watch for JT Woods on the Chargers side. As far as the Rams usually don't play any of their key players in the preseason. But Sean McVay said don't expect that this year. Now he's got the Rams in transition. He's trying, they're not a team with, that's likely in the running for the Super Bowl. They're a younger team that's trying to build up. And so he's going to play a lot of his key guys in the preseason this year. He made that point abundantly clear earlier this week. Chiefs will take on the Saints in New Orleans. The guy to watch in this game is Kansas City's second-year wide receiver Justin Ross, who's made some amazing catches. The former Clemson star has been in the Chiefs camp, and he's healthy now, and you're talking about 6'4", 210 pounds. He'll play his first football game in 21 months Sunday at the Superdome. But Justin Ross has been absolutely fantastic. And then on the Seahawks side, this is Derek Carr making his Saints debut. And then there's a real battle for the number 2 quarterback job in New Orleans. Is it going to be Jameis Winston or is it going to be Jake Haener? And that's a legitimate competition between Winston and Haener for who's number 2. So there you go. That's what's going on week 1 around the NFL. Hope you enjoy the video. Enjoy the games. They start 2 tonight. They finish up Sunday with the Niners and the Raiders. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.